For centuries, the Galactic Empire had expanded its reach, stretching its influence across countless star systems. Its massive fleets dominated the cosmos, with battlecruisers and patrol ships enforcing order wherever they went. It's the Empire's power was unquestioned, and its control over the galaxy was almost absolute. Star systems fell in line without resistance, and even the whispers of rebellion were quickly crushed by overwhelming force. The commanders of the Empire were confident in their strength, knowing that no enemy could stand against their advanced technology and countless ships. But deep in the outer regions, where light from distant stars barely reached in charts, showed only empty darkness, something new was stirring. A sector long ignored because of its remoteness suddenly became the focus of intense interest. Scouting vessels, sleek and fast, were sent to investigate unusual readings, signals that did not match any known patterns and movements that defied explanation. It was during one of these routine patrols that the scouts first spotted it. A massive warship, unlike anything recorded in the Empire's vast archives. The ship was enormous, far larger than any cruiser or destroyer the Empire possessed. Its design was unfamiliar, with sharp angles and a hull that shimmered faintly under the distant starlight. Sensors detected energy emissions that were unlike anything the Empire's scientists had encountered before. Was as if this ship belonged to an entirely different era of technology. Mixing raw power with subtle, almost elegant engineering, the scouts tried to send a signal, but there was no response. The ship moved silently but with purpose, gliding through space in a way that showed expert control and advanced propulsion methods. What puzzled the scouts the most was the ship's sudden ability to disappear one moment it was clearly visible. On long-range scanners, the next it vanished without a trace, slipping through sensor nets as if it had folded space itself. Word of this discovery reached the Empire's high command quickly. The news was met with disbelief and skepticism at first. Many officers refused to believe that such a vessel could exist without their knowledge. But the reports were clear and the evidence undeniable. The Galactic Empire, so used to ruling the stars without challenge, found itself facing a mystery that unsettled even the most experienced leaders. The commanders gathered in secure war rooms, staring at holographic images and sensor data that showed the ghostly silhouette of the unknown warship. Discussions grew tense as experts debated the ship's origin and purpose. No known faction or rebel group had the resources to build such a powerful vessel. The possibility of a hidden enemy was frightening. As the hours passed, the human warship reappeared near a cluster of minor star systems, serving quietly without making any aggressive moves. Its presence alone sent shockwaves through the local outposts. Military units were put on high alert, but the ship showed no interest in direct confrontation. Instead, it seemed to study the Empire's defenses, moving like a shadow, testing boundaries and disappearing before any response could be organized. The human vessel's technology baffled the Empire's engineers. Its weapon systems were silent. Yet sensors detected hidden power sources that suggested incredible strength. Defensive shields fluctuated in unusual patterns, making it difficult for the Empire's long-range scanners to lock on. The ship's speed and maneuverability were unlike anything in the Empire's fleet. It could dart through asteroid fields with ease and slip between patrol ships as if space itself obeyed its command. Rumors began to spread among the Empire's officers. Some believed the ship was a relic of an ancient civilization long thought extinct. Others speculated it might be a secret project from a rival faction or even a weapon of nature, something beyond human control. The truth was far more surprising. The ship was human-made, piloted by a species the Empire had underestimated for centuries. Humans were thought to be primitive and scattered across a small, unimportant planet at the edge of the galaxy. Their technology was believed to be basic, their ambitions limited. But now, this warship shattered those assumptions. The human crew showed a blend of old-world toughness and sharp ingenuity. Their ship was not the largest or most heavily armed, but it was smart, adaptable, and deadly in unexpected ways. As the human warship moved deeper into Empire-controlled space, it left a trail of confusion and awe behind. Patrols scrambled to track it, but the ship always stayed one step ahead, never committing to a fight, always choosing when and where to appear. The Empire's commanders realized that this was not a simple enemy to be destroyed. It was a challenge, a puzzle that tested the limits of their knowledge and control. With every appearance, the human warship grew bolder, pushing boundaries and revealing that the Empire was far from prepared. The quiet void of space had suddenly become a stage for an unknown power to emerge. And as the stars watched silently, the question on everyone's mind was clear. Who were these humans, and what did they want? The Galactic Empire, proud and vast, was about to learn that in the darkest corners of the universe, new legends were born. Legends that would change the course of history forever, the moment the Galactic Empire recovered fragments of debris. From the mysterious warship, a new wave of activity swept through their laboratories and command centers. Scientists and military experts rushed to analyze every scrap, every particle, hoping to uncover clues about the ship's origin and technology. At first, the findings baffled them. The materials were unlike anything they had cataloged before. Some parts looked rugged and old-fashioned, as if crafted by hands that valued durability and practicality over sleek design. Yet intertwined with this were elements of astonishing innovation, power sources that seemed efficient, beyond their understanding, and systems that blended simplicity with complex engineering. It was a strange mix that made no immediate sense, a puzzle that forced even the most skilled analysts to admit they were out of their depth. As communication signals were intercepted and decoded, the truth slowly emerged. The warship was piloted by humans, a species the Empire had long written off as primitive, living on a small, distant planet thought too insignificant to matter in galactic affairs. For centuries, the Empire's scholars had considered humans as isolated, unadvanced, and unlikely to possess any real threat to their power. But these intercepted messages, filled with sharp tactical discussions and confident commands, painted a very different picture. Humans were organized, resourceful, and fearless. They spoke of unity, courage, and a fierce will to survive that shone through every transmission. The Empire realized that this warship was not just a random anomaly. It was a symbol of a power, long forgotten, quietly growing beneath the surface. The human culture reflected a blend of old-world toughness and a hunger for progress. Unlike the Empire's polished fleets, built for show and overwhelming force, the humans crafted their technology for adaptability. Their ship could operate in harsh environments, endure damage, and change tactics on the fly. It was clear they prized flexibility and resilience over sheer size or firepower. This revelation unsettled the Empire's leaders. They had always believed their dominance was unchallenged, their fleets unmatched. Now, the humans' unexpected rise was a reminder that power could hide in places no one cared to look, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Military strategists began to reassess everything they knew about the galaxy's political landscape. If humans had the capability to build such a vessel, what else might they possess? What other secrets were locked away on their distant world? As more information came in, the Empire's analysts discovered that the human crew was not just skilled in technology, but also in leadership and morale. Their communications showed a close bond among the crew members, a trust that made them work as one unit rather than a collection of individuals. This unity gave them an edge in situations where the Empire's forces, despite their power, often failed to coordinate effectively. The scientists found this fascinating. The humans were not just machines of war, but a living community, blending innovation with humanity itself. In the midst of these discoveries, rumors began to circulate within the Empire's ranks. Some whispered that the humans might be descendants of an ancient civilization, lost to history. Survivors who had rebuilt their society far from the galaxy's centers. Others feared they could be the product of a secret experiment or a hidden faction designed to challenge the Empire's reign in silence. Yet no one had a clear answer. Every theory only deepened the mystery. Meanwhile, the human warship continued, its silent patrols rarely engaging but always watching, as if waiting for the right moment to reveal its true purpose. The Empire's commanders grew anxious, unable to predict the humans' next move or strategy. The unknown created tension throughout the galaxy's power structure, shaking the confidence of those who had long believed victory was assured. In quiet moments, the leaders pondered the lessons the humans represented, a reminder that history was never as settled as it seemed, and that even the mightiest empires could be surprised by the resilience and creativity of those they had overlooked. The human warship was more than a threat. It was a symbol of hope for those who dreamed of freedom from the Empire's rule. It showed that courage and adaptability could challenge even the greatest forces. As this understanding took root, the Galactic Empire faced a growing realization that their era of control might be coming to an end. The humans were not just a new player on the galactic stage, they were the start of a new story, one that would test the limits of power, will, and the spirit of exploration. And as the Empire prepared for what might come, the galaxy watched. Holding its breath for the next chapter in this unfolding enigma, the silence of space was shattered one day. When the human warship reappeared suddenly near a critical supply route that the Galactic Empire depended on to keep its far-flung outposts supplied and connected. The supply convoy moving through this region was a vital lifeline, transporting food, equipment, and soldiers to the Empire's distant colonies. Unbeknownst to the convoy, it was about to become the center of a battle that would change everything. Pirates, long allied with the Empire as unofficial enforcers in the lawless outer sectors, had trapped the convoy in an ambush. These pirate forces were well-armed and ruthless, knowing that cutting off this supply line could cripple the Empire's hold on the area. The convoy's escorts struggled to hold the line against overwhelming numbers and cunning tactics. Panic was rising among the convoy's crews, and the situation seemed hopeless. Suddenly, out of the darkness, the human warship appeared. It came in with precise timing, entering the conflict like a shadowy guardian. The humans did not wait to be detected or challenged. The ship unleashed a series of quick, calculated maneuvers that baffled the pirates, who had expected an easy victory. The human warship's technology and crew tactics were unlike anything the Empire had seen before. Rather than relying on sheer firepower, the humans used speed, deception, and unexpected attacks that disrupted the pirates' formation. The ship's weapons targeted only necessary points, disabling key pirate vessels without destroying everything. Showing a level of control and strategy that confused their enemies, the humans' ability to adapt in real time was remarkable. As the pirates scrambled to respond, the human crew coordinated perfectly. Their orders were clear and direct, but also flexible, allowing for quick changes in plan as the battle unfolded. The pirates, used to overwhelming their foes through brute force and intimidation, found themselves outmatched by this clever, determined crew. Slowly, the tide of the fight shifted. Pirates began to lose ground, their confidence shaken by the humans' unexpected resilience and tactical brilliance. The convoy ships, inspired by the arrival of the human warship, found new courage. Their crews worked with renewed energy, repairing damage quickly and supporting one another. For the first time in a long time, hope stirred among those who had been trapped and fearful. The human warship's captain led the assault with calm authority, directing precise strikes and protecting the vulnerable supply ships. The crew worked as a single unit, every member aware of their role in the greater mission. Their unity and trust in one another were clear in their actions and communication. As the battle reached its climax, the pirates found themselves cornered. One by one, their ships were disabled or forced to retreat. The human warship had turned a desperate situation into a stunning victory. The rescued convoy, grateful and amazed, sent signals of thanks and relief back to the Empire's command. But instead of praise for the Empire's forces, these messages carried something else. Stories of a new power on the edge of the galaxy, one that might change everything. News of the battle spread quickly through the oppressed systems under the Empire's rule. The human success was not just a military win, it became a symbol of resistance and hope. People who had long suffered in silence began to believe that change was possible. The human warship, once a shadowy mystery, had become a beacon of courage and possibility. The Empire, for all its size and strength, began to feel the weight of uncertainty. Military leaders watched in disbelief as reports came in showing how the humans' unpredictable tactics and resourcefulness had outwitted their longtime allies, the pirates. The old assumptions about human weakness crumbled in the face of this new reality. The humans were not just surviving, they were thriving and challenging the very foundation of the Empire's control. In war rooms and strategy centers, commanders debated how to respond to this emerging threat. Some urged caution, warning that underestimating the humans could be disastrous. Others pushed for immediate retaliation, but even then, no one could say for sure how to fight an enemy so different from any they had faced before. The battle near the supply route became a turning point. It was proof that the Galactic Empire was no longer the uncontested ruler of the stars. A new power had arrived, one that combined intelligence, courage, and a willingness to fight for freedom in a way that the galaxy had never seen. This clash was only the beginning, but it sent a clear message. The humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and more capable than anyone had ever imagined. The stage was set for a struggle that would test the limits of power and change the course of history. As the human warship vanished once again into the depths of space, leaving behind a trail of inspired allies and shaken enemies, the Galactic Empire was forced to confront a truth it had long ignored. The galaxy was no longer quiet and predictable. It was alive with the spark of rebellion, led by a crew who refused to be defined by their past or limited by expectations. The first contact clash was more than a battle. It was the dawn of a new era, one where humanity's strength, cunning, and unbreakable spirit would challenge the vastness of empire and rewrite the rules of the stars. The stories of the human warship's daring rescue and its unmatched skill spread like wildfire across the vast reaches of the Galactic Empire's colonies. From the smallest mining outposts to the grandest cities under the Empire's rule, whispers of hope began to rise where once there was only silence and fear. People who had long suffered under harsh control and unfair laws started to share tales of the human ship and its fearless crew, speaking in hushed tones about the possibility of change. It was not just a ship anymore. It was a symbol of defiance, strength, and the possibility that even the greatest powers could be challenged. As these stories circulated, the subdued populations found courage in the knowledge that they were not alone. The human warship's appearance sparked quiet gatherings where citizens discussed ideas of freedom and justice, wondering if the time had come to stand up for themselves. In the dark corners of the Empire's most tightly controlled sectors, secret meetings grew bolder, and plans once thought impossible began to form. The Galactic Empire, which had always prided itself on control and order, suddenly found its authority questioned more openly than ever before. Imperial officers noticed the growing unrest, reports of small protests, acts of sabotage, and an increasing refusal to obey commands. The humans' message was spreading faster than the Empire's armies could respond, and that made the commanders uneasy. Amid this growing wave of rebellion, the human warship did not remain silent. Its captain, a figure both respected and mysterious, used the ship's communication systems to broadcast a message to every corner of the Empire. In clear and calm tones, the captain spoke of unity and freedom, urging the many different groups scattered across the stars to join together. The message was simple, yet powerful. No matter how different they were, they could find strength in standing side by side against oppression. The captain reminded listeners that their combined courage and resolve could overcome even the most entrenched power. This message echoed through the communication networks, reaching countless ears and inspiring hope where it was most needed. The human warship became more than a vessel. It was a beacon, a rallying point for those who dreamed of a new future. In response, colonies and planets that had long lived under fear began to send signals of support. Resistance groups coordinated more openly, sharing information and resources with one another. The idea of a united front began to take shape, giving rise to a movement that the Empire had not anticipated. The once invincible Galactic Empire found itself struggling to hold on to its grip as the human symbol grew stronger. Military patrols were met with growing hostility, and the Empire's carefully maintained order began to crack at the edges. The commanders tried to respond with force, but the unrest had taken on a life of its own, one that no fleet of starships could isolate, suppress. The human warship's influence reached even the highest levels of the Empire's government, forcing leaders to reconsider their strategies. They could no longer ignore the threat posed by a species they had underestimated for so long, human. Crew's bravery and vision showed that power was not only about weapons and fleets, but also about inspiring hope and bringing people together. In the midst of this upheaval, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The old order, once so sure of its place, was now facing an unstoppable force born from the courage and determination of those who refused to accept a life of submission. The human warship's journey was far from over. As it continued to travel the stars, it carried with it the promise of a new era, one where freedom and unity could finally take root in the darkest corners of the universe. The rallying call was heard, and the movement had begun. Change was coming, and nothing would ever be the same again.